Okay, I'm about to install my new JKS track bar to replace the broken one that I have in the Jeep right now. I'm in the process of removing it. It's an old metal Cloak track bar that we had welded up so that I could get off the trail from when I broke it. As you can see, it's pretty beefy welds. It definitely held up to get me home. So I'm in the process of pulling that bolt so that we can get the new one in, get it measured up and installed. I think this is going to become my backup one. I'll keep with me in the rig in case of any future breaks. So it's already measured. It's fixed now, so I don't have to do any adjustment. But I will pull it out and match it up to the new track bar so that my steering wheel is straight and my axle is centered below the vehicle. All right. Just FYI, this particular steering stabilizer that I have, the bracket blocks the access to the axle track bar mount. See this? I just unbolted it from here, swung it away so that I can get access to that bolt. Alright, so that is a 21 millimeter bolt head. I'm going to spin it off. I already have the nut backed off from the back side of this. I'm just going to spin out the bolt. I'm going to replace this with brand new hardware. One thing to note, I had put a strap from the frame to the axle. In this case, I tied it off to the rim because my strap is too long, so I needed that extra length. This is going to hold your track bar or your axle centered, because when you remove the track bar itself, the body will slide and move. So you want to keep it in place so that when you put in your new track bar, it'll line right up. And I'm spinning out the bolt on the frame side. Came right out. Okay, I got the two track bars side by side. The old one that I just pulled out is the metal Cloak, and the new one is a JKS track bar. But see, look at how much thicker this piece is compared to the metal Cloak. The diameter of this is significantly narrower than this one. I mean, compare the jam nut. I mean, you can't really see the jam nut here, but much smaller than the JKS one. So this is a much beefier track bar, so I'm really happy to install this one. I picked it up on Amazon for about $200. Great price, free shipping, and so far very pleased about it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take these old bolt holes and match up the length by placing it through both ends, and then I'm going to adjust it to make sure it's the same length as the previous one. So this one's a little bit shorter, so I'm going to lengthen this, but I need two hands. Okay. So before I lock down the jam nut, I'm going to put some anti-seize on this. It's recommended to place the anti-seize so that it doesn't corrode and get seized up in there if you ever need to adjust the length of the track bar. Okay, so anti-seize on there. Thread that back in, and make sure it all lines up with the old track bar. Alright, I don't have an open wrench or an adjustable wrench big enough for this nut. This nut is huge compared to the metal Cloak. So I have this pipe wrench, open mouth, and I'm going to use this to tighten my jam nut. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of a snugging here, and then I'm going to tighten it up all the way once it's installed in the Jeep so it can have better leverage. Okay, this is the new hardware I picked up from Amazon. It's got a nylon nut on it. Nylock. Fine thread, grade 8, brand new. Okay, I always like to make sure the ant sees the hardware, so I did some on the nut, on the inside of the nut, as well as on the threads of the bolt itself. So there's my new grade 8 bolt. I got them both attached to the frame and attached to the axle. It's kind of a pain in the ass to line it up by myself, but I managed to get the bolts through. And I kept the jam nut loose so that it can rotate and align to each of the bracket mounts. So I'm just going to cinch this down now. It's supposed to be at 120 or 125 foot-pounds, I believe. All right, I got everything back together. Track bar is set at the axle side, 125 foot-pounds. Jam nut tightened with a pipe wrench. Didn't have a big enough open wrench or adjustable wrench. And at the frame end, 125 foot-pounds. And there she is, nice and beefy. Looks good. And I'm gotta go for a test drive and make sure that everything's driving straight down the road and that the steering wheel is straight. Okay, that should be it.